Hello, everyone, and welcome to Baldwin's Unlocking Potential podcast series. I'm your host, Tyler Kern. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the show. Water, water everywhere, and all the margins did shrink. Water, water everywhere, and the pump stations on the blink. A new take on an old poem from Samuel Taylor Coleridge to set the scene as we jump into this webcast with bold printing, which made a bold move in reducing waste before it was so critical to do so. Now, with the costs of paper, inks, silicone, and chemicals all victims of inflation, printers everywhere have no choice but to focus on reducing waste, not just to protect their profit margins, but also, wherever possible, the environment. Labor, as we discussed in a previous podcast, is also in short supply, compounding today's challenges and taking the urgency to the next level to take action. So what is the answer? Well, there's no silver bullet here, and automation alone goes only one step of the way. But early adopters of breakthrough technologies are staying ahead. And one such printer who has embraced this philosophy is Mikael Olsson of Bold Printing AB Malmo. He joins me here today with Baldwin Technologies' Martin Maier. Gentlemen, guys, thank you so much for joining me here on the podcast today.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Bold Printing took a bold step with its recent conversion to Baldwin's PREPAC Zero automated cleaning technology on its presses, and Mikael is here to share what that move has done for his business. Shorter washing programs, reduced quantity of washing used, reduced paper waste, reduced maintenance of the washing machines, no pump stations, and less manual rework. All of those things we'll be discussing here on the show. So Mikael, what are we talking about here? Please start by telling us a little bit about Bold Printing, a bit about your history, and what the company specializes in today.
Well, Bold Printing is a group of 5 printing plants today. It's a part of the Bonnier Group, which is the biggest media group in Sweden. Bold Printing Group was established in 1998, and in that time there were 3 printing plants, one in Stockholm, one in Borås outside Gothenburg, and the plant where I work in Malmo in south of Sweden. 2019, they made some structural changes. So from then we are 5 printing plants. And the most north of them is in Gävle, which is in the middle of Sweden. And then we have the whole way down to Malmo, where I work. In Malmo, we have 2 different plants, printing plants. We print, if we look at the whole group, we can print magazines, print commercials, and but the biggest part is newspapers. And in Malmo, where I work, we only print newspapers. We only have cold set printing. So we print most of the big morning papers here down in south, and some commercials and some free papers.
So, Mikael, I listed some of the challenges and some of the different issues that printers are facing these days. But what are some of the biggest challenges Bold Printing is facing during these really tumultuous times?
Yeah, you were touching it in your intro. I think the prices of the biggest part is paper and energy. The paper has gone up like 50% the last year in price. The energy is going to be all-time high this winter, and down here in south we have 4 different price zones in Sweden with energy, and we are in the most expensive zone here down in Sweden, the zone 4. So that's a really big issue for us, of course. And the problem, I think, is that we cannot hire the price of our customers. And even if we did, most of our customers are our own, so it doesn't matter. It's the same wallet anyway. And I mean, all the parts, also the printing plates have gone up like nearly 100% the last year, and we don't see that it's going to stop here. So it's going to be even more expensive if we look at next year. And then we have the amount of circulations, of course, that is going down every year and has been so for the last 20 years. The younger people they're not reading the paper anymore. They're reading it from the tablets and their cell phones, and they don't have any papers anymore. So that's our big challenges.
Absolutely. We've discussed on previous podcast episodes, why energy costs are going up and things like that, which is a good opportunity to remind everyone to go check out previous episodes of the Unlocking Potential podcast series, where
Mm.
we've discussed some of these things and some of the other factors that are leading to these price increases. But Mikael, so what led you to Baldwin and PREPAC Zero, and when did you make the switch to PREPAC Zero?
It was Ulf and Hans, who's working on Baldwin in Malmo, that introduced me to the PREPAC Zero. And I looked back, and it was almost exactly a year ago we started testing. So they presented all the benefits that they thought it could be for us to change to the PREPAC Zero. And we're really used in Malmo that they test their products in our plant. So it was no big deal that they're going to test, but they were really positive to those clots without water. And so we started with one printing tower in September last year. And then we used machines for a month, and then we took another tower. So we used two towers with a new cloth, and then we successively did it tower to tower. So now we have 6 printing towers in my plant, and we have those PREPAC Zero in 5 of them right now. And the last one is just to get rid of the old one, so we're using it up. And I think in 3 or 4 weeks we're going to change that tower also, and then we're going to have PREPAC Zero in the whole press.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
What benefits have you seen over this past year since adopting PREPAC Zero?
Yeah, you were also into that in the beginning here. We have seen that we can have shorter programs, shorter washing programs, because the cloth is more effective. It cleans better.
Mm-hmm.
So, and shorter programs makes the waste of cloth, washing cloth, less. So it's a big saving here. And then we sometimes, not all day, but from time to time, we make something we call a rundown wash. And that's when the press goes down to low speed, and then it runs, and we make a short wash. And also that program we have shortened, so we save both cloth and also paper waste. And then we have seen, because we don't have any water, we don't add any water anymore. So all the leaks in the system, we don't have to take care of. We don't have to make sure that everything is okay. In the washing machine, there are small holes where the water comes out. And from time to time, we have to take out the washing machine and clean, because they get a lot of dirt and the washing machine doesn't work as it should. So we don't have to do that anymore. And the last one is that we have a pump station that pumps up water with water boost. And we already have the pump station. So for us, it's no cost. We have it anyway. But for new customers, they don't have to have that station at all. And it's both a cost for the station and also maintenance of the pumps and everything. So I think that's the big advantages that we have seen. But I must say that also the result is better. It gets cleaner. So maybe that's the biggest thing for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Having the positive outcome, I think, is absolutely a huge benefit. Are there any other technologies that Bold Printing has adopted recently to boost productivity or to save resources, anything like that?
We had a project where we were into the energy prices. So that's the big issue right now for us. I think that's where we can save most money. And we looked into our pressured air in the building, and we saw that when we have no production and no people in the building at all we have many hours in the weekends, and also many hours from the night till the morning where nobody's working in our building, and still we had a lot of pressured air that was made. So and that also cost a lot of energy. So we looked into it, and we found a lot of leaks. We in the system, we closed down some old machines that we don't use anymore. We changed one of our air compressors to a new, more efficient one. So what we have calculated with all those things, that wasn't really big. I think we worked with this for a month or two, something like that. And we're going to save around 1 million Swedish crowns a year, or
Wow.
$100,000 around a year, only in that thing we did.
Wow.
And now we just started up a new project where we're looking to other things we can save in energy. It's the same. We look at it as the same way. We have a lot of hours where nobody's working in the building. Do we have to have high temperature? Do we have to have the ventilation? The humidity, does it have to be perfect all those hours? But this is just in the startup, so I don't know really yet. But there is a lot of money in energy right now, so that's what we are pinpointing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely right, especially on the doorstep of a winter that looks like it's going to be expensive when it comes to energy prices. I think that's a really good point and an important thing to mention. So Martin, tell us a little bit about your background and your role at Baldwin.
Yes, I work at Baldwin since 2005, and I work at the R&D department for consumables. So my responsibility is to develop new products, for example, like the PREPAC Zero, which sometimes takes several years to develop a new product. And I also visit customers, and I'm testing, for example, new products, for example, like PREPAC or PREPAC Zero. And I also do conversions. For example, if a customer is interested in our product, I go to the customer, I install the PREPAC, make some modifications on the wash program and the hardware and software, so that the customer at the end has, for example, less wash time. That means less downtime, and also for example, less waste at the end. So most of the time I'm traveling, so 50% traveling, 50% office, and so I start from the beginning, for example, when we have the product idea, and then I support the product till it's released after several years. Yeah.
Absolutely. Fantastic. So tell us, we want to get a little bit more background on PREPAC. So tell us how long PREPAC has been on the market. How long has this been around?
The PREPAC itself is on the market since 1995, so 27 years now. And the PREPAC Zero itself is a new version of the PREPAC, which has a water substitute inside, so that we don't have to spray any water anymore. And it's released since June 2021, so over 1 year now. And we have introduced it at several customers, sheet-fed customers, and also newspaper customers.
Absolutely. So give us a deeper understanding. Tell us a little bit more about what inspired the development of PREPAC and PREPAC Zero, and a little bit more about how it works. Get into some of those details for us.
Yes, the idea was the PREPAC, or standard PREPAC, which is on the market since 27 years, has a benefit because the solvent is already inside gloss, so we don't have to spray any solvent. But for many applications, we had to add some water because of the paper dust, for example, on the blanket, which can only be removed by adding water. And the customers, they have to do a lot of maintenance, for example, like Mikael said, on the pump station, on the pipe system, for example. And our idea was to develop a product where we don't need any water anymore. And the challenge is to replace the water in our PREPAC. That was the biggest challenge. So we found a solution to add a special chemical component, and we also did some modification on the gloss itself to make it more efficient to clean the paper without any adding water, which was a big challenge for us. It took several years to develop this product.
So, Martin, when you're talking to other printers, what are you hearing from them? Those that are using PREPAC, especially in the context of the multitude of challenges that they're facing right now. What are you hearing from them, especially on how this product has been so helpful for them? And do you have any anecdotes or examples that you can share with us?
Most customers saying that they save paper waste, for example, especially in the packaging industry. I had a few customers recently, they had problems with water dripping. So for example, when they do a blanket cleaning, the water drips, for example, to the paper or to the cardboard, and it causes a lot of waste, sometimes several hundred of copies. And with our PREPAC Zero, there is no additional water, and so less paper waste at the end. And also another thing they are saying is with our PREPAC, they have all the time a very efficient cleaning result on the blanket. There is no need to make any manual cleaning, which also saves a lot of downtime, so they have more production hours at the end. And another thing is also with our PREPAC, they can also save wash time, which also, so faster cleaning and also less gloss consumption at the end. So they doesn't have to change the gloss so often, so which also means less downtime at the end.
So, Mikael, tell me about the relationship that you have with Baldwin and maybe specifically with Martin. Do you guys, how have you felt that Baldwin has come in and helped you kind of meet the needs that you have during this difficult time? Has that been something that has been beneficial, that relationship that you have with Baldwin?
Not that I can say something about the hard times, but we have always had a really, really good cooperation with Baldwin, and we have, I think, we together with Baldwin want to find new, more efficient ways to do things. So we are open for Baldwin to test anything they want, as long as it doesn't affect us too much. I think sometimes you cannot see it before if something happens, but they are really, really careful when they test things. We start in a small way, and then we make it bigger and bigger when we see it work. So we have never had any problems during those tests. And like I say, we have to develop the business together. I think Baldwin and we together have hard times, of course. So we have to do things more efficient and better. And I think that's the same goal for both of us. So I'm looking forward to more cooperation and more working together. I mean, we have two guys that are working a lot in our plants, Hans and Ulf, and I think they are everyday work for us to work with them. It's nothing. They're coming and they're going as they want to, because they're doing it really well. Doesn't disturb us at all, and so it's a good cooperation. I think it's the way it should work with all business context that you have in a perfect world.
Yeah, that's right. And Martin, hearing someone like Mikael say those things just about the cooperation and the working together, that it kind of sounds like Bold Printing is an ideal client for Baldwin, because you can try things, you can work together, and you have this fantastic cooperation.
Yeah, it's really important to have customers like Bold Printing. I also have a customer in Germany where I can also test on the sheet fed side also. And of course, it's really important that we don't disturb the printing process. But it's important to test our products on the field. It's not possible to test the product in the lab only. We also do lab tests, but at the end, it's important to simulate. We need a real production to test our products to see how they perform. And as I said before, it takes sometimes really several years to develop a new product because of all these different parameters which are on the press, all the different inks, different blankets. We're really happy to have customers like Bold Printing, of course. Yeah,
Absolutely. So, Mikael, after people watch this episode, what do you hope that they understand about Bold Printing and also PREPAC Zero? What do you want people to have as their main their main lesson from this podcast episode?
I think it's good for everyone to lower the waste of everything. So this is a way to lower the waste of both the washing cloth and also the paper waste. And also it's a good way to save maintenance. And as the business gets tougher, you have less personnel that can maintain the machines. So I think this really, really, really important parts to look into. And I can say that it has been good for us. It's working really, really good.
Absolutely. And Martin, same question. What do you hope people know and understand about Baldwin and about PREPAC Zero after they consume this episode?
I hope they understand that our product that we are spending a lot of time to develop in comparison to our competitors, for example, that we spend a lot of time to improve our products, and that they can save a lot of paper waste, and also, which is really important at the moment, with our PREPAC Zero, for example, no dripping, less maintenance, so they have more production time. Yeah.
Absolutely. Fantastic stuff. Mikael Olsson of Bold Printing and Martin Maier of Baldwin Technology. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me here on the Unlocking Potential podcast series and discussing a little bit more about PREPAC Zero, some of the challenges that we're seeing in the printing industry, and how you're solving problems to create new solutions. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. And everyone, thank you for tuning into another episode of Baldwin's Unlocking Potential podcast series. Like I said earlier on in the show, make sure you go back and check out some of the previous episodes of the podcast that we've done. We've recorded a lot of different episodes, and a lot of them tie back into some of the things we talked about today. So make sure to go back and check out some of those previous episodes of the show. The best way to do that is by going to the Apple Podcast or Spotify page for the podcast. You can do that by searching Unlocking Potential and Baldwin there on Google, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, wherever you get your podcasts these days. And of course, visiting the Baldwin website as well to stay up to date with the latest news and information from Baldwin Technology. And stay tuned. We'll be back soon with more episodes of the show. But for this episode, from my fantastic guest, I've been your host, Tyler Kern. Thanks for joining us.